if you're a youth wrestler, high school wrestler, or even college wrestler, you're not wrestling freestyle by now, I really think you're making a mistake. And if you're one of those people that are like, oh, I've never wrestled it before, I don't know how to wrestle it, just man up, be bad at it for like 2 weeks, and then understand the rule set. It's not that hard. It's all wrestling. You do the same moves that you do in folk style as you do in freestyle, with the exception of part tear, and it takes like one practice to learn a gut wrench and a leg lace. Now, it takes you a bunch of practice to get good at them, but you should just man up, learn it, quit crying about it, and do it, because it's going to get you better at wrestling, and it's really, really fun. I've never really met someone where they try freestyle and like, this is the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. Typically, they have fun with it, they enjoy it, and if not, you're so-so about it, but it still gets you better at wrestling. You're wrestling with all your friends, and it gives you competition over the summer, which is also fun, because it kind of is sometimes boring just going to practice and not competing at all. It really is. I'm sure even the best wrestlers think that. Now, I enjoy practice, but it does get boring without competition. So first thing I want to talk about is, how does it get us better at wrestling? You could just say, well, I could just wrestle folk style year round and I would get better at wrestling, which is true also. But I think freestyle really emphasizes you finishing correctly on your shots and your techniques. Not only your shots, but everything else, right? Being in a good position in our shots, being in a good position in front headlock, being able to finish front headlock. And it also gives us more opportunities to scramble in a weird way. Not scramble in a way where folk style, you can do some really, really dumb stuff and it pays off because some people don't know how to scramble. But when you reach high level scrambles and guys that actually know what they're doing, you lose to those guys in your weird stuff because you're doing your scrambles incorrectly. In freestyle, you obviously can't expose your back, so it actually makes you scramble correctly almost, because you can't just do dumb stuff and dive under and hang on to legs and stuff like that. Otherwise, you're going to give up a bunch of points. Back to the shots, you can't just shoot in and grab a leg, right, and hang on as long as you can, like you can in folk style as well, because you get exposed by a hip tip or a crotch lock, and it's all over. So your shot selection needs to be better, and your finishes need to be better, and your position all needs to be better. And if that doesn't make you better at shooting, I don't know what is going to. Also, front headlock is a more prominent position in freestyle than I think folk style. I think good wrestlers use a front headlock in both, but you get to a front headlock position a lot in freestyle, and you can score a lot of points from it and be dangerous in a lot of different ways. And I think it just gives you more options for folk style. The other thing that I want to talk about is just being seen by college coaches. Fargo is the biggest high school tournament that every single college coach probably watches and probably looks at. If you can have a good Fargo, you're going to get recruited by people. And so it's like, to just completely ignore one of the biggest tournaments of the year is really, really, really dumb if you want to wrestle in college, to me personally. Now, obviously you have Super 32, and I'm sure there's, I'm sure coaches look at the state tournament and everything like that, but wrestlers are getting so good. Like, not saying it's not impressive to win a state title, because it is, and it's hard, and it's something that you should want to do. But colleges, I don't think, put a whole bunch of emphasis on, oh, this guy won state, I'm going to throw a full ride at him. No, it's not typically like that. And so it's like, you have to go out and reach these other levels in the sport through Fargo, Super 32, UWW team trials, which outside of Super 32, these are all freestyle tournaments. And so it's like, you have to go show these coaches that you're into it and stuff like that. And then also, just practicing year round is going to get you better. And that's just what you wrestle. After high school season's over or youth season's over, you wrestle freestyle for Freestyle State, you wrestle freestyle for Fargo and stuff like that, and you start working on these skills because they're important. And then also, like, if you really, really want to get good at wrestling, I think a lot of college athletes that wrestle at a high level, that are achieving quite a bit, especially on the Division I level, I don't want to say most, but there is a good chunk of wrestlers that are looking to go on the world circuit and the senior level circuit. And so it's like, if you get really, really good at wrestling and that's something that you want to do in the future, but you've never wrestled freestyle, it's going to be a hard transition to these guys that have been wrestling freestyle since they've been a little kid. Because like, I started freestyle in like 4th grade. And so it's like, I've been wrestling, even if I didn't understand it in 4th grade, which I definitely didn't. I saw the difference between me wrestling freestyle in youth compared to when I got to high schoolers, compared to high schoolers that never wrestled freestyle. I just had an understanding of the rules a lot better than them, and I could focus on the techniques, not trying to understand the sport itself. And so now add, 4 to 8 more years on that of wrestling freestyle. You get done with college and you're entering the senior circuit. Now people got like 10 years of freestyle wrestling and you've never wrestled a match. It's just not smart. And you never know how much involved in wrestling you're going to be. Maybe you get really, really good. If you're a sixth grader or something like this and you're watching this, you're like, oh, I don't really want to wrestle freestyle right now because I don't think it'll be that fun, or I'm not that serious about wrestling. What if you get really, really serious, you get really, really good, and then you're like, oh, shit, I wish I would have wrestled freestyle when I was younger, so now I could jump right into the senior level circuit. All in all, if you're thinking about wrestling freestyle, I definitely think you should. It's really, really fun. Who cares if you win or lose? And you get better at wrestling. You get better at technique. You get better at your shots. You get better at front headlock. You get better at pretty much everything. I think you can control your body more as well, and you're a lot more aware of going to your back and not going to your back, and you learn just the correct way to do things. So try it out this year.